Hi. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Sorry, I'm a few minutes late. All right. So I was trying to think, what these review classes, we're supposed to go through them as, to go review all the content. And I was trying to figure out what's the most relevant thing that also could be additional information for you, something that maybe you haven't heard before, or maybe it'd be useful to hear again. Um, and there's so much when we think of the Buddhist path, you know, Buddhism as an idea, as a path to of transformation. There's so many steps, like there's so many different things to create a complete package. Like here's the whole thing. Here's the whole thing. And and I was thinking over the last couple of days, what could you leave ACI 15 with? Right. And the whole course is about basically one thing. When you hear something, should you understand it literally, meaning the words that are said are the words that are meant? Or should you be interpreting it? Maybe there's something else going on. Maybe there's some other meaning or some other purpose for what you hear. Okay. And and the name of this course is The Art of Interpretation, which makes it sound like to me, and the word art is not, it's not in the title. It's an interpretive title of, the art. It's an interpretive title to understand what the Buddha really meant. And hey, Trinity, not for you. Sorry, we got up late, and so we have to do the. I'm literally being saying you're too big. Don't eat other people's food. It's not figurative. Anyway, so but it's an art form to learn how to interpret what the Buddha meant. What it was the Buddha really saying when he was saying things to different students at different times. And when we look at it, there seems to be potential contradictions. Okay. And I want to move this out of, a historical analysis. Yes, we could go through the various turnings of the wheel. We can go through the sutras. We can go through and say, well, yeah, here you said this, here you said this. What did you really mean? Oh, actually, what I really meant was this. And then you have to understand, if he says this is what I really meant, can you even trust the statement, this is what I really mean? Right? So I want to take this to a different level, the level of who in your world do you need to interpret? Right. And unless you have, I don't know, that's not the right way of saying that. if you have a teacher, any teacher, how do you interpret what they have to say? Did they really mean what they said? Or did they say it for a different purpose? And this becomes a subtle art of what did the teacher really mean? And if you have enough kelwa, your teacher will be in a room with all the other students, and it'll feel like they're talking directly to you. They will be saying something that, you're like, ooh, that hurts. Ooh, that's me. Like, oh, that's my life. And it's a very, very bizarre experience because you're like, how could they only be talking to me when there's 100 people in the room? Then, then your ego takes over. And then your ego is like, I'm the most special person in this room. They're paying attention only to me. Right? I hope you've all had that experience. Yes. And you should feel special because it's your karma that is ripening to hear somebody speak directly to you. And secondly, it's also validly possible that they're speaking to other people at the same time and helping them too. Okay. You know, I understand, so that I'm going to go off on a little trip and come back. I understand the human need for closeness and connection. God, like, I'm looking for it all the time. I understand that. And being recognized in a certain way from your teacher feels good. Feels lovely, right? But there's, the point of the teacher is to get you to enlightenment, right? The point of the teacher is to empower you to plant the right seeds, stop planting the wrong seeds so you can get there. Right. And, sometimes it's painful. Like, I know what it's like to want that connection. But when that connection is so wrapped up in other afflictions, your job is to elevate, not stagnate. God, I rhymed that together. That was great. Their job is to elevate you, not to stagnate you. And so if you come to the teachings with that in mind, then you're listening in a very, very different way. You're like, that message was specific for me and probably 100 other people too. In this realm, there's only so much time that any teacher's body and mind can be devoted. Like, it looks like I've tried it. Like, I've tried not sleeping to help people. It doesn't work. It just makes you grumpy. Like, this body needs rest. It needs to repair, right? You need food. You need all of those things. You see, so there's only so much time. So teachers will consolidate feedback and teachings into their teachings. And I'll tell you something, it's from my own experience, it is so much easier to teach in the role of the teacher than it is to give personal advices when someone just comes up to you. I don't know what it is, but there's some energy shift or something that happens in the role of teacher, right? Some karma ripens. It's different. It's something weird. I haven't figured it out yet. But they're trying to help you specifically and all the other people too. When I look at all of your faces, which is why I want to see your faces. I want to see your faces, like, because you're pretty, because you're beautiful, because you're wonderful human beings, right? Like I want to see your eyes. I want to see your reactions. I want to see who you are, right? Even if it's just a little Zoom square, right? If you want to have that experience of seeing all the faces of all living beings, you have to show up authentically. You have to show up as you, right? If you want to have that direct experience of bodhicitta, you got to show up as you, right? In all of your glory and all of your moments of not glory. And we have them, you know. So when we're interpreting what is the teacher saying, like you have to look at it as why are they saying this? Why are they doing it this way? Why do they treat me this way, but they treat other people differently? That's not fair. You know what's not fair? Your karma. And actually, your karma is fair, right? And I was talking to my teacher the other day. I had a whole series of things happen. It was like one thing after another, and it just wouldn't stop. It was like negative news, negative news, negative news. I was like, Jesus, right? Trying to hold it together. I get to the airport in San Diego, and all of a sudden, you know what tipped it over the edge? I had lost my car key. My car's sitting in Phoenix, and I have no way to drive it. I have no idea where my key went. And that one thing just was like, in a normal day, I would have been like, all right, whatever. I'll solve. This is an easy problem to solve. Unexpected, got to change things, but fine. But then, I called my teacher and, well, texted, and I was like, look, I need some guidance. I cannot do karma and emptiness right now. That's literally what I said. I can't think, right? Emptiness level one. I can't think this way, and I got a great perspective on it. And the perspective was, wow, the last 2 years of your life has been like purification of lifetimes of crap just put into a condensed moment, right? Just, and the only thing I was able to hear was this will change, right? Emptiness level one, flavor number one, this will change. It does change, right? First thing to do when you're upset, put food in your belly, get some good rest, and try to find someone to support you. Get a hug, right? Lay on the couch. I don't know. Get a massage. Find, the basics. Cry, do all the things, right? But that's emptiness level one. Like, and that's, as teachers, you have to look at that. Like, what can this person handle right now? They just need to know that the purification is going to end. They need to know that, a month after their someone special to them dies, they will laugh again. You know, you need to know that you're going to be okay. It's going to hurt. Yes, it hurts like hell, but you'll be okay, right? You'll be different. Tomorrow will be different, yes, but this won't be the same. That's what I needed to hear sitting in the this San Diego airport. I probably look like my family's house just burned down and half of them died. That's how upset I was. Like I finally was just like I let it go, right? And the floodgates opened because I lost my car key. I know exactly how I lost it. I don't know where I lost it, but I know how I lost it. And then who made it all better? My mom. You know how my mom made it better? She was like, you should have put that in your backpack. Like, thanks, mom. Thanks for telling me what I know I should have done. I didn't need instructions on how to better take care of my car key. Like, well, okay, I'll call someone else. Right. And why do I have that karma? So, and then, you know, if someone's beyond that level, right, and they're having a problem, right, they know things are going to change. Then you get to a place where you say, look, you know, there's no one who's actually controlling this. And this is emptiness level 2. This is flavor number 2. There's no controller or director behind the world. You don't have control of your body the way you thought you did. Just get old. Eventually you'll recognize it. Something will happen. If you've ever had a fever that's been strong enough, that's it. Right? You can't move. Like, you're not in charge of that. Including when you're sitting in the San Diego airport having a moment, right? I couldn't control it. And actually I just let it happen. It was fun. I mean, fun's not the right word. I wouldn't wish it upon anyone, but I just let it happen. Like, oh, I shouldn't be like this in the airport. People are watching me. I don't care. Maybe they need to see someone have a meltdown. It wasn't terrible, but it was, I had my pink glasses on, maybe they couldn't see, you know, but there's no one in control. Yes, you have a choice to plant seeds for the future, but you're not in control of the seeds that are ripening. Thanks, mom. Whomever, Anna, maybe you need to look for the second key. Yeah, you know where my second key was, Anna? My second key was in my house, in my drawer, 2 hours away from the airport. My car's at the airport. Right? I know where my other key is, mom. Luckily, I also had the karma that the problem wasn't a problem. Like, someone was driving down from Sedona next morning. I had already planned to stay in an Airbnb anyway. So I just took an Uber. It cost me $30. They picked me up at 10 a.m., went to the airport, picked up my car. Nice. Right. The replacement key is $300, but that's a different story. But you don't have the control of the seeds ripening, right? I could have written everybody, and everyone was like, nope, Tim, none of us are coming down to Phoenix. Sorry. Love you, but sorry. Or hate you and sorry. Whatever they said. And so, then there's other solutions, right? Rent a car, drive up here, whatever. It's, but you're not in control of the seeds. You might have control of the seed that you plant. Okay. But emptiness flavor 2 is like, look, I don't have control. So when you think your teacher is criticizing you, you don't have control of that. So don't try to control it. You're just experiencing. You are the experiencer of it. Plant different seeds. Okay. And if you have a higher view, which we're going to get to in a hot second, maybe they're doing something important. Maybe they're trying to open something up in you. Maybe they're trying to ripen some seeds so you don't turn them into a lifetime of misery. Who's ripening those seeds? You are. You have the good seed to create somebody who goes, nah, 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 and starts poking at your weak points. It's not fun. I promise you, it's not a fun thing to do. It's not fun knowing that someone is going to ripen some negative seeds. But out of love, it is. a because you know at the end of the day they will be more joyful and more relaxed and happy, and they will be of more service to other people, right? Okay, so then you know then you move up, right? You know, nothing is depends how you want to. You can do 3 and 4 interchangeably. We're going to do it this way. The third one is do I want to do it that way? Let's do it this way. The third one is mind only, which we spent a whole week on, whole month on. The perceived and the perceiver are not separate substances. They are coming from the same seed. The me who's sitting in the airport and the fact that there's no key in his suitcase or his backpack or at the hotel or in the taxi, right? I barely made the flight looking for it. That's the same seed, right? The Tim that's in the airport and the Tim that's experiencing a certain thing is the same seed. The Tim that, you know, is at an Airbnb and as he left, the owner gave Tim a hug is the same seed. Like knew I needed a hug. It was beautiful. It was connecting. It was lovely, right? Also had a beautiful pool and a hot tub in the back. That's why I chose it. And I got a hug from the owner when I left. Please come back. I probably will. It's cheaper than a hotel, nicer than a hotel. It has a pool and a hot tub, right? But that's the same seed. So the experience that you have with you and your teacher, or you and a student, same seed. That's the seed that's ripening for you. The thing that you're perceiving, the object and the me are coming from the same substance. They're not of the same substance, meaning mind and body are different substances, but they come from the same seed, same karma. I put myself there and I put that jerk there. I put myself here and I put that person criticizing me there. I put myself here and the person who gave me a hug together. My problem, right? Notice how each of these steps become more and more your fault. Or more and more, let's say it positively. They become more and more your responsibility. Okay. The me and the object that's there are of the same seed. I did it. Right now, mind only is going to say, yeah, there's a Sheng Wang there and blah, 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 and there's something else there. That's fine. That helps you relax. That helps you not take 100% responsibility yet. Okay. It's all about yet. What are you ready for yet? You're almost ready for. Okay. So as teachers, you have to look at the student and say, okay, what can you understand right now? Maria, it's just language. Ugh. They're empty of coming from separate substances, meaning the seed. It's a code word for seed. But the material cause of the mind and the material cause of the body are different. How about that? The stuff of mind and the stuff of body are different. But the same substance is the seed. How's that? Fine. Irritated that you asked a clarifying question. Yeah, that's fine. Just kidding. But as teachers and looking at students, what can they handle? Right? The way that I poke at Maria, I'm not sure other people would hear it the same way or understand it. I may not poke the same way. Right, Maria? She probably feels a little upset when I only do it to her, but don't do it to other people. Right? But then she has to wonder why. Like, why does Tim do it to me, but not to someone else? Understand it's my fault that I have a Maria there that's behaving in a certain way that's creating a certain reaction in me. Right? It's not Maria's fault. It's Tim's fault. My responsibility. It's my responsibility. And that's why I'm shifting the language. It doesn't mean there's not a separate Maria out there with separate seeds. Careful. And then you can start thinking about what level of emptiness I'm on when I say stuff like that. Next, things are not, emptiness level 4 is things are not inherently called what they're called. They're not automatically called the thing that you're calling it. Right? This is an easier one to handle. Maybe. I think it's more profound. Like a pen is not a pen from its own side. The word pen, it's not pen. Right? It's empty of the name that's given. It's not tashi. Right? You don't look at a baby, a little baby that comes out of its mom and the whole world, all 7,999,999,999 people, something like that. Sorry, just 8 billion minus one. Not everyone goes, it's Tashi, right? They don't look at that and go, it's Tashi, right? But the profoundness of that is that things aren't automatically what they're called. Is actually the opposite view. The opposite view is that you immediately think it's Tashi. You immediately think it's a pen, and it couldn't be anything else but Tashi. It couldn't be anything else but a pen. That's the profoundness of that emptiness flavor. That you automatically think it's that. And if you've ever studied languages, this is the value of studying a language. Is that all of a sudden your brain has to realize that there are infinite combinations of human utterances and sounds that make meaning. And those utterances are, in the final analysis, meaningless. Because, they're just sounds, and those sounds can be anything. Any sound that your mouth can make could have meaning, right? And that's a way to force your mind to go, wait a second, I think these things are, these things are these things. There's something else going on here. It's automatic. It's so automatic that I don't even think about it. Okay. Next emptiness level, number 5. This is when we talk about the 50-50. This is the lower middle way. That everything there's nothing out there that has a unique identity of its own. It's contributing in some way to establish it, but it's you, meaning your seed, that then puts it all together. Like there isn't a pen out there by itself, where the lower schools will say, yeah, there's a pen there. Right. And you feel comfortable with it that way. But in the lower middle way, it's like that pen wasn't there until you looked at it. There was something there that was just waiting, like at a bus stop, or waiting in an airport for the plane to take off. Right? Just waiting to be something. But it's not something until you come along. right? So emptiness level 5 is like, whoa, 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 whoa. It's not anything until I look at it, right? Now the responsibility is shifting further into source. And like that, that's a Sedona word, right? Where is it coming from entirely, right? It gets you prepared. It gets the student prepared for the highest view. That whoa, 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 there's a huge responsibility here. This wasn't even there until I looked at it, until I had a perception, heard, sat, looked, tasted, whatever. Right now you can start seeing as teachers how do you help somebody? Why did I have a whole series of bad news ripen one after another? Bam, 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 bam. Right? Like, was the news there until I was there? Right? Like, like there's a whole like it brings into question like what the hell's going on. But as we move up, things become more and more stable. Like your capacity to hold the responsibility becomes stronger. And your goal as teachers is to increase that capacity in the students. I'm not tough on people who I don't think have the capacity. You should be worried if I'm too nice to you. Not entirely true. The art of interpretation. There's many ways to increase capacity. That's why the Buddha taught many ways. That's why the Buddha taught various angles and methodologies. Everybody has a unique karmic configuration. What's appearing now, and what's appearing now could be different than what appears tomorrow. So we have to adjust. We have to move. Something I said in 2022, I don't know. It was relevant at the time. It's not relevant today. Or maybe it is. I don't know. You got to think about it. But that fifth flavor of emptiness gets us to be like, oh, I'm responsible for this in a much more profound way. And then the sixth flavor of emptiness gets us to a place of, oh, everything is 100% coming from karma. Even the raw data, the parts that you perceive that you put together into the pen, those parts themselves are coming from karma too. The indicators that became indicators to create the whole are coming from karma too. They are forced upon you by how you treated others in the past. The pieces that you see that become tashi, the pieces that you see that become you. This is where it gets more profound. The pieces that you see that become your student or your friend or your parent, right? And then the way you take those pieces to be something, it's all your karma. It's all karma. If your mom is being too mom, like, well, you should have put it in your backpack. Like, you could take that as annoyed, and you can take mom as being annoying. You could take mom as being critical. You could take mom as being loving. You know, how you take it is also a karma. You know, I'm getting more and more comfortable being like, Mom, I get it. I know what I need to do. I just didn't. I'm not perfect. I just want support from my mom. I want mom. I want like, is that too hard? Tim's karma. Is that so damn hard to get what you want? Yes, it is. Even asking for what you want doesn't always get you what you want, right? Why? Well, because karma, right? Is it so hard for you to just be what I want you to be? Yep, that's your karma. That's why it's so hard. And I think that's the beauty of it, the empowerment of it. But it's also depressing and sad and annoying, and especially when you don't get what you want. But you do have the capacity for the future to create that. People come to a spiritual path for many, many reasons. And some people want quick fixes, and that's why a sangha also has to provide the support for people. Like, you can give people the moon in the sense of you can give them the inspirational, motivational speech. But until those seeds are available to ripen, they're going to need the immediate things like love and care and support, because the change takes time. Geshe always talks about his students being 20-year, 25-year projects. Right? It takes a decent amount of time to change somebody. It takes a decent amount of time for someone to change. And the older you are, the harder it is. Maybe. It's just a story we tell ourselves. Hachik. In a single instant, I become, right? Who do I become in a single instant? Right? And that moves us into the like, oh, by the way, there's a seventh flavor of emptiness. Okay. And that's where I want to go to finish this discussion. Then we'll move to a Q&A. You know, the seventh level is I would say, an addition to the sixth. You're not leaving the sixth behind. You're adding an additional level to it. And that's where we started today's class. Who is the Buddha? Who do we need to interpret? What do we need to interpret? And this is a very, very high view. It's very delicate. And my voice cracked when I said delicate. I like that. It's very subtle. And you have to be extremely mindful in it too, and not get stuck in self-existence. Right? So here we go. One of the features or qualities that an enlightened being has is their compassion. Is they have this automatic desire to serve and to help, because they know what it's like. They know what samsara is like. They know what pain is like. They know what all those things are like. And they know that we're stuck, and they know that we do things because we can't control ourselves. By the way, a sign that you're starting to be able to like really interrupt your patterns is you'll have dreams that will interrupt you. Where you either think, oh, this is a bad thing, or someone will tell you it's the wrong thing to do. Like, if your ethics are, I was upset with somebody once, and I had a dream where I was with my teacher and they were on a Zoom call with the person I was upset with. They were having a meeting, And then they put me on the Zoom call and said, you need to figure out your problem with this person. You two need to resolve your conflict. I'm like, okay. So immediately I started I started pretty aggressive out of the gate with this person. And my teacher interrupted me. And very loudly he said, don't treat them the way they treat you. I was like, then the meeting went forward, and there was this thing that happened as I was watching myself not be able to control the words coming out of my mouth to this person, but knowing that I shouldn't be saying the words karmically, right? So I had this part of me that was watching, you know, and I woke up and I was like, whoa, that was a cool dream, right? And I've tried really hard not to treat that person the way they treat me, and it's so hard. I just want to yell at them. They're what's the translation of insoportable from Spanish to English? They're I don't know. Anyway, whatever. If anyone can put it in the chat, they're impossible people. Okay, you know, and so unbearable. There you go. Thank you, Romanian. um, right. So look, a Buddha has infinite compassion. So the Buddha also has this ability to then appear in any way that will help you. Anyway, anything that could help you move along, move, move that train along, get it, get out of your inertia, your inertial stable state, and create a different momentum to keep going, right? Get the momentum pushing you, right? Get unstuck. Do you think the Buddha appears in the world as a big guy with a pointed head and big ears? I mean, if you saw someone walking down the street, I mean, I've walked by people that have just felt extremely holy to me. And I'm like, my reaction is not like, help me get out of suffering. My reaction is always like, I'm not like you. I'm not holy enough to be in your presence. The cone heads. Oh my God. I knew that was you, Z. um, so like you have this like reverence, right? And then you just plop yourself down in devotion or something, or you just walk by and don't look at me, right? And yes, those people can help you. I'm not saying that they don't. But if a Buddha is trying to help you, how would they appear? It seems like the Spanish translation is off. Now they're back. Okay. So look, think of the logic of it. Okay. I'm going logic. I'm not getting all mystical and woo woo with you. If a Buddha has compassion and wants you to get out of suffering, how would they appear to you? How would they appear to you? They would appear everywhere. Okay. They would appear in every person that you meet who could be helping you become someone who's has the capacity to be just like them. They are not jealous. They are not possessive. It's not how they became Buddhas. Okay. So first, your first step is you start thinking about, start with one person, maybe your teacher. That's usually an easy person to start with. But then you start looking around and you're like, well, shit. That person was really nice to me, or that was weird. Like, that was irritating. If you study the 6 flavors of emptiness, you understand that that irritating person is you anyway. Right. And then you're like, okay, well, if a Buddha does exist, which would be coming from my karma anyway, duh, how would they appear? Well, they would appear to help me get along the path. They would be helping me. So where are they helping me? Everywhere. In the sun, in the wind, in the trees, in your cats, in your partner, in your friends, in your family, in your mom. Oh, this is a Buddha helping me. You get suspicious. And then your world becomes extraordinary. There is nothing in the world that is normal. Is it that way from its own side? Can I look at Cotting and say, Cotting is a Buddha? Really? Maybe she is. Maybe she's not. I can't prove it. But when your Kelwa is strong enough, they will be that way naturally without effort. That doesn't mean you should just be like, oh, everything's an angel. Man, I'm so mystically, like, spiritually bypassing everything. No, not that. Like, if someone appears to you to be an asshole, they are functioning you as an asshole at the same time that they're a Buddha who's trying to help you purify the seed for assholes in your world. And interpreters, you better say what I just said. You're allowed to say jerk. You don't have to say the strong word. Okay. And I know in many languages a good translation of that word if you want to ask me at a different time. Anyway, you see, the world that's appearing to you is appearing to you. You can't control it, but you can also control, but the seeds will start ripening that you will start taking it entirely differently. That asshole is the most extraordinary Buddha in the world. Thank you. That doesn't mean that you just roll over like a submissive dog and you go, okay, this is what the world is like. Wah. You have to stop injustice. You have to do all those things, but you don't stop injustice the way you think you stop injustice. You change your seeds. You change the seeds, right? That doesn't mean you roll over and don't do anything either. Okay. That asshole needs help. They need that Buddha appearing as that jerk also is also a call for help. They need help. You can help Buddhas. Does a Buddha need help? No, but that appearance needs help. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't functionally change what needs to happen. But the 7th flavor of emptiness is that you just take things as extraordinary. And falling into a normal point of view is what keeps things normal. Okay. And that's how you change everything very, very quickly. That's how you had just the mere suspicion that maybe a Buddha is appearing right now. And how am I going to take that information that I get? Sure, it might not be the information you want. But it's your seed ripening. It was already in that stream. Let's modify it. Let's suspect that maybe there's somebody out there helping us, that there is an enlightened being out there helping us. And then your world starts becoming incredibly, I will say, magical, which I refuse to use that word very often because it feels ungrounded. But I mean it in an entirely grounded way. And the thing is, this point of view is free. You don't have to pay any money to have it. You can just be in it. And no one even has to know that you're doing it. Nobody even has to know. And then you just watch your world change. Because now you're taking 100% responsibility for it. And what do you want it to be? Do you want it to be full of assholes or do you want it to be full of tantric deities? Your choice. Questions? We got 35 minutes. Now, you don't want to know about self-made Buddhists. Self-made Buddhists don't have teachers. They need teachers. Someone asked, tell us more about self-made Buddhas. Self-made Buddhas, all it means is that you have incredible seeds. You came into this life with incredible seeds from previous lives, and they're all ripening right now. And they will run out. And that's why you need a teacher, so they don't run out. That's all. Tim's never given a 30-second answer before. Amazing. Yay. No questions. I mean, I could babble about something else if you want. Let's see what.
I have a question.
Go for it.
Why 65 a second in an instance in awareness? Like, why not 108? Why not 48? Why 65? While we're trying to be aware of planting a seed, that one moment of awareness that I'm planting a seed, how do I know there's not 64 other things getting in the way of what I think I'm planting?
I think here's my this is how I would logically deduce this. Okay. I don't know if there's some self-existent reason for this. I would say the reason we say that there are 65, so what Tracy's referring to is that every second there are 65 seeds ripening in a finger snap. Like, and you look around your world and you're like, well, there's so many things going on. You have your body, you have your mind, you have the external things, like, right? And it feels like a stream. It feels like a singular stream of experience. But she's asking, well, why is it 65? Why is it not 108 seeds a second? Why is it not one seed a second? I have two answers. I think this is me just thinking out loud. I don't know what the scriptures say about this. Maybe the answer's not there. The first thing is I think it's a teaching on an interpretive teaching on the fact that there's so many things happening in a given moment that we are not in control. Okay. That we don't have an awareness of what's happening, you know, because the seed ripens, then you have think about it this way: a seed ripens, then there's a time gap between the seed ripening and your perception of the seed. Okay. So you're not actually watching a seed ripen, you're watching the result of it in time after it happened. So you're never even watching the present moment, you're watching the past. So I think it's meant to teach us about there's a complexity beyond what our perceptions are able to navigate. Okay. Secondly, more interpretively, but also I would go towards a question of emptiness. What is a duration of time? In the lower schools, a duration, like what is ultimate is the ultimately small duration of time, or the ultimate smallest particle of physical matter, the ultimate small indivisible moment of time. There's nothing smaller than this. But it's just a perception, right? You can't perceive anything smaller than that. So that's the smallest perception possible, right? And so what we try to understand is that there's an emptiness to that perception. You can't see 65 things ripening in a second. But a Buddha can see all past, present, and future at the same time directly. So there's an emptiness to all of those things. Right. And I think our goal is to understand how our perceptions are just literally inside a box. We're trapped in a closet, and we think that's what the world is. We think that's where it's going to be. So I think the number is probably, I don't know. It's probably figurative, because you could be a different being and experience different things at, in different rates. Like if you get to the place of chuchok, highest dharma, right before you see emptiness directly, you see a singular seed opening up. Are you seeing only one seed? Are you seeing 65 of the same type of seed opening in a stream that appears like a single seed? Are you just seeing a single seed open up when you see pot on the stove? I don't know. But I do know that experience then pushes you into seeing emptiness directly. But I think it's meant for us to understand, there's something that's beyond our comprehension happening in every moment. And secondly, that there is an emptiness to it. That's what I'd say, Tracy. Let's go back here. This is a good question. Marina, I don't understand your question at all. So could you rephrase? Um, Claudia asks, I'm new. And this is a great question. Claudia asks, I'm new student. If a Buddha is enlightened, how is it that they still see an unenlightened world? Right? I think that's a good question. Like if they've already perfected their seeds, how do they see imperfection? And the classic answer to this, if we're all hanging out on Zoom right now, okay, I don't know who all of you are. There's 60 of us today, right? We have 26 pictures. Wonderful. That's less than half, right? So I see 26 pictures of people. And now there's more. Good job. Okay. So we're all looking at each other, right? I mean, as far as I can tell, most of you, other than the person who looks like a bridge, you all look like humans to me, right? You look like people who have, two eyes, a nose, a mouth, some hair. Some of us are bald, ears, shoulders, fingers, right? I'm experiencing it this way. In your, as an enlightened being, your world that you're perceiving, we would all be hanging out. And, if I were a Buddha and we were all hanging out, all of you would just be other bodhisattvas and high level bodhisattvas and Buddhas. We'd be hanging out, having a good old time in our tantric paradise. Okay. Doing the same thing, right? We would just be talking about karma and emptiness, la, 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 right? Having a good time, full of bliss, just doing our thing, right? But a special feature of the Buddha is they can also, since they can see all existing things, they can also see how you perceive yourself. And they can see how you perceive things. So, and there's no problem. It's pen and chutoi. You see a perfect world, other people see a suffering world, no problem. And I think that's all I'm going to say about that. You have to think about it. It's a great question. It's Claudia. It's actually a very, very smart question. And if you can crack that code, if you can crack that, you're well on your way to deep, deep realization. So good job. Where do you live, Claudia?
En Guadalajara, México.
Guadalajara. Oh, well, nice to meet you. Okay. Let's see here. Evgeny asks, why do seeds double every 24 hours? Why do they not quadruple? Or why are they not a factor of 10? Same answer of why there's 65 seeds a second. That's all I can say. I don't know. Is it helpful? Yeah. You better be worried about doing something today that's going to have twice as many seeds tomorrow. You better be worried about that. Or on the other way, like you better be excited about that. If seeds can double like that, then in a single instant, you could become an entirely different being. Your world could be entirely different. Okay. That's the reason why all of this is possible. Hold on, I want to look up something here. Oh, stop it. I want to read something to you guys. But I gotta find it first. I don't have it completely memorized yet. Come on. There we are. Come on. Hold on, I'm trying to find the Ragni Kechiki's Jetson Dorje now Jurmar Gear. In a single instant, I become the holy angel. Right? Tompani de Gear. You transform yourself. You go, look, I'm going to dissolve into emptiness, and out of a state of emptiness, what happens? Ragni Kechiki. I myself, Ragni Kechiki, in a single instant, I become the holy angel of diamond. Jetson Durja Naljurama Cure. Okay. Cure. And so what seeds do you want to plant to then start creating that world? And if things double every day, do the things that are going to properly double and not improperly double. They're going to double anyway. Okay. So do the things that you want to double and don't stop doing the things you don't want to double every day. You know, it's not, again, Abhidharma. This is Abhidharma language. Helpful. Maybe it needs to be interpreted. But if you're living in a world where this happens, that just because it says it doubles doesn't mean it's self-existent. How about that? Just because there's laws of karma don't mean that the laws of karma are immutable. They're not self-existent, but they don't change. You can think about that. Good questions. Da, da, da. Okay. Ludmila, you are close to getting it. Ludmila's question is, how do you think about the emptiness of me that's reflecting on the emptiness of me? Who is doing the reflecting is the question. Isn't the me who thinks of the me that's self-existent also a me itself? Say it again. Is there not a me who's thinking of a self-existent me that is also appearing in a self-existent way to deny the self-existent me? Yes. That's my answer. Simple. Yes. But each step of over analyzing, like matak machepa, like if you don't analyze it too much, right? But if you analyze it just once, like a me who's analyzing me, that me who's analyzing me could also be analyzed by another me, another part. And then an analysis like that, like a extensive analysis makes you arrive at a point where you can't find me. The me that you thought was there is not there. That is one technique to get to it. Because if you can catch yourself in the absence of that, the logic can flip you into an experience where you go, there's a dissolution, there's a lack of a me, and then there's an experience of that lack. It goes hard to describe. I don't know. I can't describe it any better than that. Because you can't describe a lack, an absence, but it will flip you into that space where everything dissolves into emptiness. And then how do you focus your mind? How do you focus a mind, which is a positive thing, on an absence? Who is watching that absence? Okay. Don't worry about that too much. Rather, use it as a tool. Use it as a method so you can capture the moment, because that moment will transform you completely. Like dissolution. Okay. Doesn't make that noise, by the way. Just, you can't use words to describe things like that. Excellent questions. These are ACI 15 questions. You guys are getting it. Even the new students, which is suspicious. Oh, this is a question from Milo. This is a good question. Okay. This gets into the emptiness of seeds. So the question is, when I experience something good, I know that good thing that I'm experiencing and the me whose experiences come from the same seed. So when I experience something bad, I know that the me and the bad thing I'm experiencing also come from the same seed. Can I understand that both good and bad things come from the same seed? Only my interpretation differs. It's saying, well, do I have to interpret what's happening as good or bad? So the neat thing and the most infuriating thing about morality or ethics in the Buddhist system is that it's not based upon some kind of rule or like you should behave this way or you should behave that way, which is infuriating because then you can't judge other people because the what's moral is something that creates a good experience for you, and what's immoral is what creates a bad experience for you. Okay. And there are many factors in any action that can create or that are influencing what goes. I like to call it how you upload the seed to the matrix. Like when you're uploading a seed, are you uploading it with a lot of emotion? And if you're uploading it with a lot of emotion and strong emotion, what emotion are you putting into it? Okay. But you have to be careful because it's not just that. Because if you're someone, I'm sorry, interpreters, if you're someone who enjoys killing people or making life horrible for people or making a mess of things, and you highly enjoy that, you are eventually going to see those things happen to you faster. But is it going to come back to you in an enjoyable way? Like, are you going to enjoy, like, if you are a serial killer, will you enjoy when those seeds start ripening in this life or maybe a future life? Are you going to be enjoying having someone beat you up all the time or cut off your arm all the time? Right? It's a sticky question, right? So, and I can think of some stories of people who have enjoyed those things when they've happened. There was a guy who committed insurance fraud because he had this fantasy of having his legs amputated. And he wanted his legs amputated and he wanted to go through the process and enjoyed it. Right? It was a fascinating story to read. But I think there's a level where the emotion itself has emptiness. Like if you upload your seed with a strong emotion, that seed becomes stronger. And so that seed will be more likely to ripen faster. Okay. So so when you're doing good things, put some good old childlike enjoyment into it. All right. It'll help. It really helps. Don't get so serious about your seed planting, please. Like don't get tight. Don't bottleneck your channels. I gotta be a good seed planter. Man, I'm doing good seeds. Like I feel like Cartman when I say that. Like, you know, don't like no, like, you know, like it's also very difficult to plant good seeds if you're all wound up either. So question is actually something different. The question is, if something is happening, is it based on my interpretation? And this gets into the seventh flavor of emptiness, right? Somebody yelling at you is a bad seed ripening. I mean, I don't usually enjoy it. I don't know about you guys. But if I bring the seventh flavor of emptiness into it, I can also say, there's a part of me that can say, I'm just purifying a negative seed, and this is a Buddha who's helping me purify it. And it takes away and it shifts the weight of the, if I'm able to have that thought, which is also a seed itself, if I am able to have it, then it shifts the power of the subsequent seeds that are ripening. You see? And so, because you're interrupting the flow of your reaction to the thing that's happening. Like if someone yells at you and then you go and start yelling at everything or yelling back or getting upset or afterwards sitting in the shower planning your revenge, writing that perfect email. Don't treat others like you were treated, including yourself. If someone yelled at you and then you're planning revenge, who are you hurting? Yourself. Should you write that revenge email? I don't know. You figure it out. But you're just hurting yourself. So yes, there's subsequent interpretations of events that if your kawa is strong enough, that you can interrupt the flow. The bad thing lasts for a couple minutes and then it's done. It's your rumination, it's your habitual being stuck in it that then perpetuates all of it. How terrible is it to be a person who stays up late at night and reviews all the news and then has to write Twitter responses about how they're right and how everyone else is wrong? I mean, just look at the bodies of people who are like that. What happens to you? You get sick. You get the words that come out of your mouth. You're not even capable of saying anything nice. Everything is an attack. The habit just takes over. So we want to pull our habits elsewhere. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy. Now I'm going to say one more thing about this question. Seeds themselves have emptiness too. The end. You can think about it. Cutting. What focus should we keep rolling in the background of daily activities to? Okay, this is an interesting question. So cutting is asking, what focus should we have in the background if we want to achieve highest dharma? The stage before you see emptiness directly. Classically, there's 4 or 5 seeds that you can focus on. And then I'll give my own personal practice. One of this, first of all, you need a teacher. Okay. Serve a teacher. Any teacher. It doesn't have to be a culty. It doesn't have to be like, oh my God, I'm like dedicated to this teacher and this is the only thing I have to do in my life. It doesn't have to be like that. Find someone who is helping you and help them. That's all. That's what that means. It's not culty. It's smart. You are still a free individual. Don't ever think you're not. Second, and if you're with a teacher who doesn't allow you to be a free individual, you should be very, very careful of them. Okay, first, serve a teacher. Second, daily meditation. You're not going to be able to slow things down enough to be able to see a single seed coming out unless you're meditating a lot. And it's not a slowing down, it's a shifting of your seeds, frankly. Your seed shifts so you can see a shift open. You can see a seed open. Thirdly, in order to have a good meditation, you also have to lead a really clean life. Like, and it's basic stuff. Like, let the shit go that happens to you. Don't put more of it in. But secondly, like, then you don't have to worry about things. If you're ethical, you don't have to worry. Like, you don't have to worry. Like, if you're someone who's trying to create an identity or hiding, or you're lying about something constantly, you worry about it too much. Then there's no way to meditate because you're planning on how you're going to lie more. You see. So serve someone has a teacher, meditate, lead an ethical life, do your book. Your book is not self-existent, by the way. Fourth is typically we want to do something with our bodies that can unlock the stuck prana, whether it's yoga or Tai Chi, Qigong, walking down the street, playing soccer, football, whatever. Like, move your body, make your body, learn how to move the chi in your body, learn how to move the prana in your body. Learn how to move the prana when you're having an affliction. When you're upset, where do you feel it in your body? Where do you feel the tightness? Learn how to move it. Learn how to navigate. Learn how to, like, oh, that's there. Let's do a little thing here, right? If you can learn some simple yoga poses when you're angry, you can move it very quickly. If you do, there's a certain series that we learn in advanced course 14, 15, 14. Okay, 6 poses. I've actually taught them before, you just didn't know. There's 6 poses. They can open up the knot at your heart. And then your meditation can get really good. Tim, why don't you teach it all the time? Well, because it's subtle. Okay. Like, you have to, your body has to be ready for it. Lady Naguma, do some Lady Naguma. Shivananda's series is amazing. Shivananda does crown to Muladhara. Lady Naguma does Muladhara to the crown. Which one's correct? Yes. Like, find something that learn your body. Yoga Nidra. I loved Yoga Nidra. What a great way to learn about the prana in your body. Just lay on the ground. Fall asleep. Yoga, sleeping yoga. Okay. 5, serve other people in need. Okay. People who are in great need. I actually realized this weekend that that was something I'm not doing as much as I used to do. And I might want to change that a little bit. Okay. Those 5 things together, those 5 powers together, they're not called powers. I'm just being Captain Planet for a second. Those 5 things together are primarily, I'm going to say primarily because there might be others, because I don't know about all of it, will create the conditions to have a unique experience like seeing a seed open up. Now, the other things that I'd like to do is I'd like to just imagine the seeds opening up. Like, walk into a room and go, vroom. Oh, wow, look at that. Cat food. Right? Look at that. water, right? Stove, Zoom call, cotting, marina, right? Like I just like to go. And then what I'd like to do also, this is a fun one to do. You can do it in Tonglen meditation. You can remove the seed that the mental image that you're placing onto things. Like, don't just pull out suffering from cotting, pull out cottingness from cotting. Right? And see that you're the one who's putting cotting on cotting, but go reverse it, like go in the reverse direction, bring cottingness to you, and then bring it into your heart, and then see it open up, like imagine it both ways. Okay. And then cottingness, she's the one who asked the question, right? Is cottingness cotting, or is cottingness enlightened being cotting who's appearing as cotting actually in question? No, how do we see Chutok, Tim? I don't know. Tell us, right? And then Tim gets to like tell cotting how to see Chuchok. Who's cotting? Is cotting, or is cotting an enlightened cotting? I don't know. Right? Get it? But to be able to do that, you need these other things. And just do them joyfully, please. Just enjoy it. Like your book practice should be fun. I was a shitty person today. Oh, great. Here we go again. Oops, I did it again. Sing to yourself. Make it fun. Right? I don't care. Like it's not heavy. It is heavy, but it's not heavy. Ooh, I like that picture. Okay. I know we're a little bit over time. So here's what's happening. Congratulations, A. Okay, we just finished ACI 15 in-depth courses. Starting in November, we're going to start ACI 16, the review course. And many of you have heard about it. We're going to do it differently. We're going to do 2 classes a month on one singular day. And then you have a month. We're going to be organizing review groups, study groups, or you can do it on your own. It's better to do it with friends, but you can be one of those people. And over that month, if you do not have ACI 1 done yet, you can finish ACI 1. And then the second month, we'll do ACI 2 and things like that. I'm going to start adding activities in throughout those 15 months that will be preparation for Delam, which will be preparation for Diamond Way. Okay. So we're going to be advertising all of this. And I think it's going to be a fun way to review all 15 courses over 15 months. And it's going to be a lot of work. Just relax. It's okay. All right. It's going to be all right. If you do the reviews, don't turn it into an affliction. It will help your practice amazingly. Secondly, at the end of course 16, 17, and 18, I'm still trying to plan it, waiting for Geshe's schedule for 2026, is that we're going to do some in-person retreats as well. So end of course 16, I'll go somewhere. I'm going to do Asia, Turkey, and the Americas. Cheapest places possible that don't have bed bugs and good food. They have good food. All right. So you all can come and meet each other. Right. If you're serious about Diamond Way, you need to meet each other. Me as well. Okay. If I'm your teacher, I'm not saying I am, right? But if that's something, and of course, if you can't make it, it's okay. It's not absolute. If you want to come to all 3 events, wonderful. But, start planning if you want to come to at least one. I'll have that scheduled soon. And please share this with all of your friends. I know there's a lot of people who want to finish the courses and want to do 16, 17, and 18. by taking 16 and 17 and 18 in this way does not mean that the person has to study with Tim and go on to Dalam. Okay, this isn't like a closed thing. Anybody can come. Like open courses are open courses. All right. Help each other learn. The whole point is just to learn the path. That's all. It's a time to go through and what did we miss? What did we integrate? What do we still have to figure out? That's cool. Like it's not supposed to be stressful. But if you're interested in going further into the advanced courses and you would like to go in with me specifically, I need to know you. And they call it's a yoga. It's a kind of yoking between student and teacher karmically. And it's not a relationship that you take lightly, because they say that if the student fails or if the teacher fails, they both fail. Okay. And there's also a responsibility. It's a responsibility that goes much beyond this one lifetime. And probably in the past, you were my teacher anyway, so I don't worry so much about it. But I worry about it. It's not the fast path is difficult. It's beautiful and it's difficult. And if you want it, great. But if you want to like just be comfortable and like, not push yourself that hard, that's okay too. And there's no judgment. But be prepared for what you asked for. That's all I'm saying. But like a wish giving gem, you have no idea what it can bring for you. You have no idea. Cotting and I have been talking about this a lot, like, kind of like karmic partners, like what is that diamond path? Like, and where do we get stuck? How do we grow? How do we morph? How do we wear the right clothing at the right time? How do we wear the right clothing at the right time to make people uncomfortable, to push them along? And sometimes you just wear a suit and make people comfortable that way. But each of those morphologies have a purpose, and it's a purpose about fulfilling your needs and the needs of others. So that's what we'll be starting in a month, actually. And it's going to be about once a month. We'll have a little check-in. Anastasia Manzarova, wherever she is, I don't see you here. She's somewhere. She's on the first page, is navigating that big old mess of beauty, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you'd like to help out, we need study group leaders. We need people in each language. I would love study groups in each language, so we don't have to have interpreters. You can just sit and talk with each other, go through the homeworks. You can teach each other. Anna had a great idea that each person goes over one homework and teaches it a little bit. We learn from each other. I think it's going to be a wonderful time. And then it's a huge preparation. That's all. No big deal. It's just enlightenment. Don't worry. It's okay. Just relax. Don't look so serious. Half of you look serious. Half of you look less than half serious. Cool. Thank you all for joining. We're going to have Lam Rim in 20 minutes. I'm going to be continuing that course probably on a weekly basis. Some weeks just might be canceled because of travels or we need some time off to continue with that translation. And I haven't figured out what else I'm going to teach, but we'll figure something else out. I'll come up with something. So it's not just review next year. So we can do some other stuff as well. Definitely, when you get that schedule, the online, the events I'll be doing in person will also be online as well. So if you can't make it in person, you can definitely join online. They will have a retreat component as well. And I also know that The point of Vajrayana, everyone, is to do it quickly. And it's also designed generally for busier people. If you have a family, if you have work, it's designed for that, So if that's that's the life that's ripening for you, and that's the life that you have, we're going to take advantage of that. Meaning, you don't have to change your life to do this. You don't have to become super spiritual and go run off into the forest and leave your family behind. Your family will become your practice. And if it's not already, it will be. Right. And we're going to teach it in a way that, allows you to do both. Okay. You don't have to give up your life. You're just expanding. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining today. I hope you got something from the Q&A and from the flavors of emptiness. Cool. Have a wonderful day. And please say goodbye to each other. You always change the rules and just say thank you to me. And that's wonderful. I appreciate it. And these are your Dharma brothers and sisters. These are the ones who are going to go with you all the way. And you'll understand that better later. See you in 20 minutes.
Thank you for teaching. Thank you for listening to.
Thank you.
Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Gracias todos.
Thank you.
Have a
We
beautiful
love
day.
Thank you
Bye.
everyone，拜拜，再见各位同学。
Thank you, teacher Steve.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot, Tim. Thank you.
You're welcome.